Hey everybody, welcome back once again to the Dancing Sober podcast. We appreciate you more and more each week. Please tell your friends about this podcast and please like and subscribe. That is definitely a way to support this podcast. You can also go to my website and hit the subscription button and become a monthly subscriber to this podcast and help support it that way. Take a look at that, rafa.la, and go to rafa.la/shop if you want to look at some of the merch that we have. I want to thank our sponsor, Movita Juice Bar, for being with us from the beginning. Go to movitajuicebar.com and get yourself something fresh to drink or to eat. They have good juices, they have acai bowls, they have smoothies, and they only use good stuff in all of their products. movitajuicebar.com, or go to your food apps and look up Movita Juice Bar. I want to thank Outer Circle Media, this dope little studio. Pretty soon we're going to move to a different location, so we won't have these brick walls anymore. I'm going to miss them because I really like them, but we'll see what that looks like. And this week we have a special guest out of Inglewood, California, gallerist, entrepreneur, Rick Garzon. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dancing Sober podcast, where we don't talk about dancing and we don't talk about being sober. But this week we have a special guest, like we always do, Rick Garzon, gallerist, entrepreneur from Residency Art Gallery in Inglewood. Mm-hmm. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Oh,
appreciate
dude,
it.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
We just had like a 20-minute talk about Kendrick and other stuff, so that was like...
Yeah, it was real intense, and I highly recommend that if you have not gone to therapy, that you should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the takeaway from the album, huh?
Yeah.
That it's like...
Yeah.
Do some therapy.
Yeah, it's really, and we mentioned this before, it's really just like a love letter for, you know, the people that have been traumatized, you know, that people are here for you, that you can't get your story out, and that, you know, there are people that, you know, you can talk to professionally. So, I mean, that was my main takeaway from the album, and I really feel like, you know, he bared his soul. So, yeah. Which most artists do.
Take your time, listen to it, and I mean, if you have the time, listen to it and read the lyrics along with it, and yeah, it's pretty deep. So, let's talk about you, Rick. What up?
What's up, man? Well, first, before we start,
yes,
I want to give you your flowers, man, and your props, man.
What?
Yes, man. Like, you have been, like, very influential in, like, the documentation of just not only our, like, art culture, but LA culture as well, man. So I definitely want to give you your props. I know this is almost the 30th episode of Dancing Sober?
27.
Yeah, man. And so I just want you to keep rocking, man. And I think you deserve your flowers, even from, you know, the vlog days to now, man.
I might be bringing back the vlogs. People have been asking for it, but
good,
we'll
man.
See. Yeah. So Rick runs a gallery in Inglewood called Residency Art. Mm-hmm. Well, let's get back into a little bit about you. I like to give people context about the person first. So the person, Rick Garzon, which is not garçon as in the French word. Is it the French word?
I mean, it's derived from it, yeah.
Garzon.
Garzon, yeah. And it depends if you put like a little accent for O.
So tell us a little bit about where you were born, how you grew up.
Yeah, so I was born in LA proper. Shout out to Cedar Sinai that fully birthed me. I grew up in the K-Town area off of Olympic and Western. I was there till about the age of 7. I terrorized that neighborhood, man. I went to Pio Pico. I went to Donna Row on La Brea for elementary. So, yeah, I was just up and down that like mid-city K-Town area. And then at the age of 7, my family moved to Inglewood, where I've been, you know, since then, since 1989? Yeah.
I'm interested a little bit in like the difference between like Pio Pico, where it's like businesses almost everywhere around. You just go one block and there's businesses everywhere.
Right.
Where like Inglewood, I mean, there's more like neighborhoods where it's just residences. And like, I mean, like my neighborhood is all residences, and you know, you have to walk a while to get to where all the businesses are.
Right.
So, do you remember any kind of difference like that, or was it crazier in the Pico area?
I I don't think so, because again, like, we lived off like Serrano, which was still, you know, it was still like homes on that street. I mean, of course we lived in an apartment complex, but it still felt like a neighborhood no matter what. Like, you still had your, you know, your best friends in the neighborhood, people that you want to go play ball with or anything. So yeah, to me, it felt the same. Yeah, no difference at all. Yeah.
So how young were you when you first started to like appreciate, well, not appreciate, or did you have a love affair with art when you were young, or did that come later?
Yeah, I want to say that probably came like around 8th grade to 9th grade, like into high school. You know, just going on trips and just, you know, my first art memory was probably going to CAM, California African American Museum, on a field trip. And just seeing this work that, you know, people essentially create from like nothing, you know, like sculpture work, you know, figurative work. It was just like people do this? Like, this is insane. Yeah. And then, you know, around the time after high school, you had your art walks that were popping up in like the early 2000s and everything. So I think that's what just kind of
fueled. Art walks downtown?
Yeah. I went to Long Beach, Santa Ana sometimes, and downtown LA. Yeah. And then, you know, you really kind of develop well, this is the approach to art that I usually tell like early collectors, just like find what you like, you know? And then once you keep like following an artist, you know, they introduce you to new artists, and then Instagram was like really big, like when that first came out, you know, it was like you get to see art from everywhere now. And so, yeah, you just really kind of develop your style. And then, you know, don't be afraid to go to museums, you know, go to art galleries, you know, then you really get to figure out like, you know, what you like and what, how can I say this? You know, what's the difference between decoration and art? Ooh, is that a little too harsh?
No, that's not hard at all. That's that's important, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, everybody has their own
right
threshold of like, this is decorative. This, you know, I think some people will look at different pieces.
Yeah, you can only paint Mickey Mouse or Martin Luther King with a Basquiat crown so many times.
Yeah,
you know?
And I think the important thing to take away from that is like, find what you like.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then just like love it.
Yeah.
Start fucking digging around it, right? Did you go to high school in Inglewood?
I went to high school in Playa del Rey. I went to St. Bernard. So after Pio Pico, which was 3rd grade, I was at private school. I think my mom just was like, she didn't like what was coming out of that. She didn't like that public school aspect, so she yanked me out. And then I went to Inglewood Christian, and after that I went to St. Bernard High School, which is in Playa del Rey, which is like right behind Westchester High School.
Was it a trip switching over?
No, not at all. It was just uniform. That's all it was. Yeah, but you know, you still have your friends. You still get into trouble. Yeah.
You get into trouble.
Yeah, definitely.
I was definitely always getting in trouble. So Inglewood, Playa del Rey. Did you go to did you study art? Are you an artist yourself?
No, not at all. I can't paint a wall to save my life. No. You know, I was always attracted to art, you know, no matter what it was. Was it in visual form? Was it in like music form? Like, I remember when I was younger, I like tried to make beats, you know, like everybody does that, right? You know, and then I found out that, you know, I suck at that.
What years did you grow up in? I gotta ask, what, as a teenager?
I'm sorry?
What years were you a teenager?
Oh, what years? It was 95 through what, 2000? Okay. Yeah, 95 to 2001, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was from the turntables and mixers age. I was from the 80s. So like, different, yeah. Yeah, everybody tried to make beats. Everybody tries to be a DJ.
Yeah, and everybody sucked at it.
But for that one time that you got it right. You know,
oh, let me tell you, I have an album that's somewhere on a hard drive, man, that I like pull out every now and then, and I'm like, dude, this shit can stand up to today, man. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you don't mind, I'd love to hear one, and I'll share some of my stuff.
I got you, yeah. I gotta go find it, though.
Yeah. So, moving forward, did you study anything that got you into this, or how did you end up, you know, deciding like, just gonna open? So,
no, I was really a business major, and to be honest, I think that's what really helps me out in my career now. Like, you know, majoring in business, you know, working retail jobs. I really feel like that's kind of the skill set you need for being a gallerist now. It's not so much like, well, I mean, of course, the major part of it is, you know, knowledge about art. Yeah. But I feel like I learned that, you know, just, you know, on my own, basically, you know. But I feel like, you know, the business side is what is the most important for me, at least, you know, because, you know, you need to, you know, first of all, you know, it's retail 101, you know, you know, greet customers, you know, talk to suppliers, make sure, you know, they're good, make sure, you know, the ecosystem is balanced. So, yeah.
That's interesting because I think a lot of, I mean, we know a lot of artists, and then growing up with artists and working with artists, there's a lot of artists that just be like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and I'm just gonna jump into it, and I already have an artist, and I already have a space, and, you know, and they don't have the business acumen to follow through, you know. And I mean, I'm one of those people, even though I think I know a lot, but having that foundation is definitely a plus. Yeah. And I think it's important to reiterate like how important it is for people that want to start an art-based passion project to have that business, you know, foundation. Yeah,
absolutely. So how I got into this, I was working in advertising, and then that naturally brought me to New York because that's where all the big ad agencies are. So I was living in New York, and then that's when I really got exposed.
You were studying advertising?
Yes.
Where'd you go to school?
Cal State Long Beach.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I got a job at a smaller, actually not right after college. Right after college, I worked at Enterprise. I got to that Enterprise Management Trainee Program.
I have to ask real quick, what does one study when they study advertising?
So my major was business administration with with an emphasis in marketing and advertising. So, you know, like econ, you know, marketing conditions. So
you studied the market itself.
Yeah, the market itself, and also advertising. Like we had a few teachers that worked in advertising, and so they just taught us the ins and outs of an agency. You know, like your creatives, your media planners, your account people. You know, like have you ever watched Mad Men? Yeah. So pretty much like that's what you learn at like college, because you have those people actually teaching. You know. That
I learned a lot from Blackish too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's and you know those shows usually have to deal with like the creative side. Like I remember in Mad Men, I forgot the character's name, but he was the one with the glasses, the one they always shit on basically. And he was the media guy, and so that was my job. Like I was the media guy. Like I was the liaison between media companies, you know, TV, digital companies, you know, outdoor billboards. Yeah. So I was like the numbers guy. So
that's the guy
they
that
hated me.
Gets the budget to sell to pay the TV stations or whatever, right?
Exactly. So I'm the guy that gets the budget, and I tell you where you can put your ad at. Yeah. And so I was not really liked, you know, because I'm the one that ran the budget, and I'm the one that pretty much shuts you down. Like
you can't do that.
You can't afford that, man. You know, like I remember like I worked for one of the agencies I worked for handled Sonic. Do you know Sonic restaurants? Yeah. And so my region was like the home region, like the Midwest region, and you had all these like franchisees like, hey man, like I want to get a commercial on TV, and I'm like, all right, what's your budget? They're like, maybe like a couple $100. I'm like, nah, man, like you can't afford, you can't afford anything, man. Like come to me with like a couple thousand, and maybe we could talk, you know. And so I was that guy. Yeah,
that's interesting. And so you're doing that in New York?
Yes. And so that's what really, you know, kind of spurred my interest in art. Well, I was getting burnt out in advertising, you know, a Cali dude, you know, working at like a laid back agency, and then going to New York and having to deal with that is just like a fucking mind fuck, man. Like that shit absolutely sucked. You know, intense. Like it was super intense. Like knowing you had to be on like 24/7. Like I was tied to a BlackBerry, you know, like, and it was terrible. Like
classic.
Yeah, like, you know, getting up in the morning, seeing that like red light flash for like messages, and you're like, fuck, man, like when do my clients sleep? Like literally, like they'll start emailing me 6 a.m. to like 11 at night, you know. So it was really no time for me to like really like enjoy myself. So
were you a suit and tie guy?
I was no, not a suit and tie guy, but a business casual guy.
Yeah.
I
mean, I had my years where I was suit and tie guy and got rid of it, but
Yeah, I mean, when we had to go see clients, it was definitely suit and tie.
Remember those days in the 20s when you just had to like put on a fucking tie?
Yeah, and
I
it was
hate
just
them
yeah. And so you know, that got me into, you know, me working there and me having, you know, the means to afford to buy artwork now. You know, that really got me into collecting. And so you know, I would see, you know, I would go to museums. I would go to, you know, like Student Museum. I would go to MoMA. I would go to like Brooklyn Museum, and I would see these artists and I would follow them. And if they had shows somewhere, I would go see the shows. And then, you know, going to the gallery, you know, asking like, hey, is this available, or, you know, can I purchase this? And them just like kind of, you know, putting their nose up at me saying, no, kid, get out of here. Like, you know, I kind of took offense to that, you know. And
is it because they want their art to go to like collectors that are known, or is it because they just didn't think that you could afford it?
Both.
A little bit of both.
Yeah, a little bit of both. Yeah. And I you know, if you know me, man, like I'm who I am 100% of the time. You know, I don't, you know, raise my voice a couple octaves, you know, to make you feel friendly, like, or to make me seem friendly. But I'm just, hey, how you doing? Like, no, I'm me. I'm who I am 100% of the time. So I may come in, you know, the gallery, like when I walked around in New York, like, you knew I was from LA. You know, I would have my Dodger hat, I would have my sweater on, my gold chain out, like, you know who I was, you know? And so when I go to galleries, like, it was just, you know, them, you know, just basically judging me, and I really didn't appreciate that. So, yeah, and then also I had a few really well-known artists that lived in my neighborhood, and I made friends with them. I mean, living in Bed-Stuy, I want to say is like almost like the mecca for like creatives in New York. Almost like you may not know they're there, but they are there. Like musicians, artists, you know, everyone in the creative field is there. Like even a lot of people in advertising worked in like Clinton Hill, Bed-Stuy, you know. And so, you know, I would talk to them and you know, we'll go, you know, meet up for brunch or something and just chop it up. And then they told me that, you know, they really have a problem with, they don't know where their work goes. You know, they don't know who it's being sold to, and they want their work to go into, you know, basically collectors of color, you know?
That was going to be I wanted to get to this point too. Like, how fucking important is it for our people with money to collect?
It's very important. Yeah, it's that's the whole driving force behind, you know, my gallery residency. You know, it's like we want to make sure that the pieces get into the right hands of us. You know, it's like, you know, yeah, I can easily sell a piece for like $20K and it end up in some fucking bunker in Kazakhstan and I never see that shit again. Like that, but that's not what it's. That's, for me personally, like, that's not what it's about. It's making sure that the collectors resonate with the work, you know, and they hang it in their house and they're proud of it, you know. Yeah,
that's interesting. So you're having these experiences in New York, and something lit a fire in you to come back to LA, or how did
So
how did the West Coast going back to Cali happen?
So basically, I was on my last leg at my agency. Like, I was getting burnt out. Like, I was. This is a long, convoluted story, but I'll make it short. Like, I was working at a parking agency, and a parking agency basically is when you have two big agencies and they can't have competing clients, they just move all those competing clients to a parking agency, and they're usually like smaller clients. So like, you know, the bigger agency can't have like Coors and then like a smaller beer brand, so they got to move the smaller beer brand to the parking agency. And so I was basically working on like
farm team shit.
Yeah, so like 7 to 9 accounts at once, you know, and you know, it's a small agency, and of course they didn't want to afford to bring in help. So I was basically just burnt out. I was on my last leg, so I was like, you know what? New York isn't worth it. Like, let me just go home. Let me chill. Let me, like, hang out by the beach and smoke a joint and just fucking do my own thing, right? And so, basically, like, when I was leaving, I knew that I didn't want to work in advertising getting back. I just knew I just didn't want to get back into the circus. So, you know, let me pull out my list. What are these things that I want to accomplish in life? And one of them was an art gallery. So I figured, like, that'd be like the easiest thing for me to start up right now. I got a little cash, you know, because obviously I didn't spend on artwork because obviously they didn't want to sell to me. So let me try to figure this out in LA. So when I got back to LA, I kind of did a survey of, galleries and institutions, and honestly, there were no like black or brown owned institutions or private institutions, like there's still very few now, I think.
How long ago did you start this, or how long ago was this?
This was 2015.
Where you did the research, 2015.
Yeah, 2015. So, yeah, I mean, I knew there was Papillon and Lemert, but they were closing, and then Avenue 50 was going, but they're a nonprofit, right? And
I'm not sure, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but there were no like private commercial galleries in LA that were black and brown owned. So I was like, all right, let's figure this out. Let's do this. So, yeah.
Did you have a little like, I don't know what the word is, but did you think about like going nonprofit and not going nonprofit? Did you weigh those options? Like,
I did, but I think for me, like I want to control over.
Me too.
Yeah.
I can't handle.
Yeah,
all
I can't
the
have a board.
either.
Yeah, all that shit, man. So I had a clear vision, and I kind of wanted to see it executed. Mm-hmm.
That's badass. So I also feel like that was probably like the easiest thing for you to just initiate and get going, because you are definitely the person that gets every single ball rolling. You don't need to call anybody. You don't need to try to get hired. You don't need to, just let's just get this ball rolling and start moving. So having left your job and having left all that shit that you were under, and like being like, how do I keep myself busy? Let's just do this gallery thing.
Yeah. So it took me a while to kind of get started. Like I want to say I moved back May 15, and I don't think the gallery opened up till July 23rd, 2016. So it took a whole year, but every day, like I was grinding. Like
I mean, it's good to know that it takes a whole year to do something like this. It's not something.
Yeah, it's not something you can just open up overnight. Because you have to get to know artists out here. You have to get to know who your collectors are. You get to know who your consumer base is, who your target base, and obviously this is all the stuff that I've learned. College, any kind of job I had, any kind of career. So. Yeah, it's just something it's something I knew, but I just had to put the pieces together.
Yeah. Right. And how did you, I mean, it's almost an obvious choice, but how did you like decide I'm doing it here in Inglewood?
Well, I was first thinking about Lemert Park, because obviously that's like
the hot spot.
Yeah, that's the hot spot. I didn't really see any buildings over there for lease, and so I just was like, fuck it, let me just do it in Inglewood. Let me do it like down the street from my house, you know? And so, I was looking at places, and I just came upon one spot that just seemed so perfect for it. It had exposed ceiling. Dude, the address was 310. I mean, it was serendipitous, man. 310 all day.
Queen Street.
Yeah, Queen Street. It was really kismet. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So coming back to your neighborhood and seeing you finding these places and then deciding to open a gallery, this is an issue that happens to a lot of people that bring art to the neighborhood. Like how did you have to deal with issues of like people calling gentrification or any how do you deal with that argument that bringing art to a neighborhood is gentrification?
So with that, I really want to stress that Inglewood is like a whole different beast, man. Yeah. I would say Inglewood is, predominantly like older folks, there's not too many like kind of a young base around there. It's middle class, middle class like boomers that have their house for like a while. So there really isn't like gentrification per se, I mean, of course you see it now, with like these different companies moving in, and now you see all these like people who didn't live in a neighborhood, coming in now, buying up homes for like damn near $1 million,
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely see it now, but I want to say like back then, I just kind of flew under the radar, it wasn't really like a gentrification conversation, but it was more of preserving what's in the neighborhood already,
I think that, it was important, or you tell me if it was like a big part of your success was your approach to like multicultural exhibits. And the first time I heard about you was God, I'm gonna forget the name now that I need it in my brain, but that exhibit with that Oscar Magallanes helped you with.
Yeah.
What was the name of that?
That was Barrio Logos. Yeah.
Barrio Logos, and had a subtitle that was interesting.
Barrio Logos. Yeah, I can't remember. So it's like visual displacement of.
Yeah, it was a really good title.
Yeah.
And,
shout out Oscar Magallanes.
Yeah, shout out to
What's
Oscar.
up, man?
So, like, you started. Was that your first exhibit?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay.
No, that was. I want to say that I was probably like 9 or 10 under my belt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was the first time I heard about you, and then just started following you ever since.
Mm-hmm.
And you continue to be very I don't know what the word is, but you show a lot of multicultural artists, and how do you get to, or how do you approach selecting artists, and how do you approach, or how did that become a part of your
so basically, multiculturalism has always been with me. I mean, just from my heritage standpoint, I am half Black, half South American, South Indigenous American. So my father was from Ecuador, my mom was from here, family originated from the South. So I really felt like, that those two things have been always ingrained in me. Like it's never always been one over the other. It's more of just how can we be more inclusive to everyone? Yeah. And then on top of that, like I really felt like the gallery needed to be a beacon for like all like BIPOC artists of color, whatever you want to call it. Like those are the works that are really resonating. Those are the works that really have a story to tell. And that's the whole idea behind residency, because having an art gallery in, quote unquote South Central is hard as fuck. It's like, how do you bring the people in? And I always thought that you bring the neighborhood in by having them identify with the stories you tell. And so every show that I have is a story that the neighborhood, the community can relate to. And so, selecting Barrio logos. So actually, to be honest, Oscar came with me with the idea to even do Pacific Standard Time, LA, which I am eternally grateful, to him for bringing that to me. And just because I don't know if you know also, but Inglewood used to be back then, 7 years ago, was predominantly like 50-50. It was half Latin and half Latino, half Black. And so mainly I just wanted to bring everybody in. Yeah.
So when you do how do you select like an artist? What is the criteria like that an artist, if an artist wanted to approach you or something, how do you pick the artist? What do they have to have? Do you have a checklist, a mental checklist?
Yeah. So I hope this doesn't seem harsh to all the self-taught artists out there, but usually I like to select the artist that's been through a program, meaning like undergrad, graduate school, any kind of like doctorate program, just because. And again, no shade to self-taught artists, but a program really teaches you how to develop your style and teaches you about your influences, and really like kind of gets out what's like in your head. Like you may have one thing in your head that you like, but it also tells you how to do that in like different mediums, or different media or whatever. So I really felt like, art school kind of teaches that. And plus you have your cohorts, you have people that's feeding off you, and you're feeding off them as well. You're feeding creativity off them.
Kind of comes with an audience.
Right.
But it definitely, like when you see an artist that has gone through the academic system, they just have a way of framing things that
exactly
makes it clear and definitely pushes forward the current whatever is coming out of the world right now. It's just so current. It's so like now.
Exactly. And also I feel like having to write about your work and explain your work, like you develop the story around your work, and then you share that story with me, and I can share that story. Like you can talk about your inspirations, you can talk about what went into a piece, and that really helps me basically like talk and sell your work basically. It's like what tools are you giving me to sell your work?
So being a self-taught artist myself, it's one of the most difficult things that I had in the beginning was like talking about art. And my first book, I was literally just gonna put together images and just write photos by Rafa and ship it out. But it was actually Sonia Romero that told me that I should have somebody in academia write about it.
Exactly.
And I got somebody to write about it, and that brought so much attention and also understanding, and just pushed so many things forward. But it is definitely, like, of course I fucking love self-taught artists. Of course. I mean, there's so many beautiful artists that do work. I'm also a nerd, so like the academic side, even though I didn't go to college myself, but I'm a self-taught nerd as well. So,
yeah.
And
so am I. Yeah.
Yeah. So like having that side and like you said, just being able to hear or read some of these artist statements. There's some that are a lot of fluff.
Yeah,
definitely.
Totally. Yeah.
But there are some people that can just cut through the fluff so beautifully and explain their art in a way that enlightens you. Like you walk away, you haven't even seen the show, but you walk away from the artist statement already like uplifted. It's just some beautiful stuff that comes out of there. So you yourself, being somebody that didn't study art and didn't, you weren't an artist when you were young or nothing like that. Like, what was your process of now saying, like, I'm in the art world? And how did you like approach this part of it where you're able to talk about it? And I mean, I've had a few conversations with you in the gallery. You're great, so it's like now that you're also just very frank, like just very real. Like, and so I appreciate that. And yeah, just how did you approach that part of being interviewed? Because now you've been in all the art magazines, you've been in the newspapers, and like, how did you approach that part?
So I want to say it took me a while because I did have what's that called? Imposter syndrome. Like, what do I know about? Okay, man. To be completely honest, man, like I couldn't sleep the night before I opened the gallery. Just I got high. I was like, all right, man, let me take a couple hits, man, and let me just like chill, yo. And I went to like the darkest place on this earth, man. Like it was like what the fuck are you doing? Like it was like a wake up. And then, ultimately, like that's how I kind of make decisions in life. Like I kind of like, I'm not one of those people that like just jump off. I'm one of those people that like kind of meander around the edge and then just kind of like kill off a little bit. So, it took a while. It was like, where am I going to find collectors at? How am I going to stay in business? Like, what am I going to do to like survive? How am I going to, support these artists that need this like infrastructure, And so all these questions came up, and ultimately, like, I just had to learn on my own, Yeah. And like we were talking about earlier, man, it's like that Master P mentality. It's like, you got to get out and do that shit on your own, man. You just got to take that leap, man. You got to take that jump, man.
What did Ice Cube say when they asked him, do you feel snubbed by the Oscars not being nominated? He's like, I didn't make that movie for them.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Like, make your own. Yeah. Right. So
and that's how I felt about the art world in general, man. Like this isn't for you. This is for us. It's more for, because all you're gonna do is like, man, like, I don't know if you've ever been in, like, let's just say you go check out a artist of color, right? And they're in like some stuffy, like snooty white ass gallery, right? Like you go there, like how many of us do you really see in there? And then I don't want to name. I should name names, but I'm not gonna name names. But I went to an exhibit back in 2015, and like the only people of color there were like one collector that I knew and like the artist family. Other than that, it was just like. It's like, man, it's like, and the subject material was like heavy. It was about like Michael Brown and like St. Louis at the time. So, it struck a chord, but it was just like, how many people are really in here like absorbing this work, And so, man, I just went on a tangent, man.
No, it's good. What I hate is like when they look at, and this happened to me since like high school and college, when they would, cause I did like, acting competitions, theater competitions. We would go do Shakespeare in like other schools, you know, and like we were the little brown boys from East LA, and you get comments like, "Oh, how cute," "Oh, look, little brown boys can do it too."
Oh, they speak so well.
Yeah. That's the shit that I hate. It's like we're in the same fucking.
We're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like why do we have to get put in a box?
Yeah.
And so, you know, just going back to that, like, just going back to just opening the space, you know, it was almost like a field of dreams, like voice in my head. It was like, if you build it, they'll come, you know? And so I'm not gonna lie, man, I struggled the first 3 years, man. Like that shit absolutely sucked. Like every day I thought about quitting, you know? Just because, you know, I had to take the few odd jobs and back at like an ad agency to kind of survive, you know. So I was still kind of, you know, working freelance from some gigs, and then opening up the galleries on the weekends only, and or at night, and just doing them by appointment only. But I want to say all that changed when I made the conscious effort to put 100% into the gallery, because I still kind of had one foot in it. I wasn't really sure how it was gonna go. It was like, you know, already 2-3 years in, like, man. I was going through the numbers the other day, and I want to say that first year, 2016, I sold one piece, and it was like maybe like $750, you know, you know, and then you know the next year, you know, kind of, and I saw the progression each year that it got better and better and better, and so
real quick before you move forward, like what kept you going? Like, was it the art? Was it the artists? Was it knowing that you were doing the right thing?
Yeah, it was all of that. And it was a community as well. Like everybody coming in saying that, oh, we never had this in our neighborhood before. And I'm like, yeah, no shit. Like I'm from here and I know that, you know? So it's like, you know, it was the community, it was artists, you know, it was, you know, and I'm not gonna lie, man, I had a couple like angel collectors that just helped me out along the way, man. They were like, yo, this is so important and we see what you're doing. So
give me names, put them right here.
You know, they helped me out along the way, and I'm eternally grateful to, you know, those select few. But yeah, I just knew that it was something that was needed, and I really didn't want to give up. And so that day, literally, it was like the next day when I decided to put my all into it, when I decided to put 100% into it, shit just changed overnight, you know? Literally, like that next day I had like a sold out show, you know, I started getting more press, and, you know, I really started to feel good about the decision that I made, you know, even though, you know, you kind of have like people around you telling you that, you know, it's not a good decision or you should just give it up. But
it's a tough one, you know?
Yeah.
What was there?
Even to this day, my mom's like, so are you going to get like a real job, or what are you doing?
That's tough.
Yeah.
Was there a specific moment where you felt it? Was it just what you just explained? I wanted to ask you, like, where was the point where you, like, as a businessman, were like, we're good? Because from the beginning, your heart wanted to do it. From the beginning, you were in. And then was there a point as a businessman where you were like, we're doing this?
Yeah, it was, like I said, that was the day. Yeah, I want to say it was in, let's see, if I opened up in 16, I want to say it was like maybe 2000, maybe like late 2018, I want to say, is where I just was like, you know what, like, I'm going to put my best foot forward and make this happen. Yeah, maybe early 2019, I wanted to. Yeah.
And now being in this place where the money's flowing, I mean, I don't know how much money is flowing, but you can stay afloat, and you have good press, and well, actually you're moving into a new space, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I wonder how you now balance the art side and the business side. Like, how does one do that? Are you more business centered? Are you more art centered? Or are you like, you know, Libra Khan?
I want to say I'm still 50-50. You know, I'm still, again, like that whole Master P mentality, man. I'm still in the streets. I'm still selling tapes out my trunk, basically. I'm still, you know, going to open studios, doing studio visits. I got a studio visit
grind.
I got studio visit after this. You know, I got to skate up to Oxnard, I think, to go view artists. You know,
shit.
like, yeah. So I'm still on the grind. You know, I'm still, and this is a note for all you artists out there. I'm gonna break the fourth wall and look at you guys. You guys should definitely get your Instagram up. Your Instagram is like your portfolio. I don't know how many times I go to an artist page and I just see nothing but pictures of them on vacation. It's like, I don't want to see you. I want to see your work. Give me a couple pictures. Like, honestly, like, start a whole separate Instagram. You know, get a personal one, get a business one. Think of your work as a business. And so that's my advice to artists right now, trying to get out there.
That's definitely important, and I gotta fix mine. Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah.
No, mine just went a lot more towards the podcast, but now I started the separate podcast Instagram, so I got to get mine back to photography. But
Yeah. And then also have a third one. You know, I know it's a lot, but have like a personal one, you know, for like, you know, your close friends or whatever.
Family.
Yeah. So, yeah, in saying all that, like, I realize, like, this is a business, you know, like, you do have to take care of that side, and I feel like over the past, like, 2 years, I've been, like, going hard at it. I've been going crazy at it. So, yeah, I'm excited for what's to come. Yeah.
And what's to come is you have a new space that's currently being built out.
Currently being built. Yeah.
Like with the little VIP room in the back. Or
Totally, yeah.
Like, talk to us about this and how you got connected with this project, like from the get. How did this whole thing start?
Yeah. So right now, it is currently in construction, but we will be in the Hollywood Park retail area, which is right next to SoFi Stadium, which is still in Inglewood. It's our I don't know if many people out there, but SoFi Stadium is now the new home of the Raiders and the Rams, and then right next to it will be the retail area. And there's other stuff going in there.
Rams and the Chargers.
Rams. What did I say? Raiders. My bad. That was wishful thinking. I'm sorry. The Chargers and the Rams. So there's a couple like condominiums that's going down there. It's a couple mixed use buildings, but I will definitely be in the retail area, and I will be in the area that highlights local Inglewood businesses. So we have a juicery, we have a couple eateries. We have Three Weavers Brewery. You know, they were also in Inglewood. So
how did they approach you?
It was actually through a collector. He is opening up a business, and he's kind of like doing some ringleading with trying to secure people down there for Inglewood. So, he came into the gallery. He approached me. He was like, "Hey, man, like, do you want to move into what's the name, Hollywood Park?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, let's do this." And literally within like 3 weeks, I had a spot. It moved fast, and I was like, I had to hop on this opportunity, and so the space is about 1,500 square feet. Like I said, it's big, it's brand new, it's high ceilings, fucking great lighting in there, and I just can't wait for everybody to see it.
Is this subsidized by anything, or is it just all you?
It's all me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's all me. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just like some program from like SoFi Stadium, like trying to.
Nope.
Oh.
Yeah, it's on me. Yeah, signed a lease. Yeah, paying out the ass for it, but
do whatever you want.
Yeah.
When do you expect your first opening to be there?
So we're supposed to be on target for March 2023. It could move up, it could move back. We're not sure yet, but it's just all depending on construction and them opening up, because we can't open up until everyone else opens up. So yeah, of course.
What is the square footage?
1,500 square feet. It's huge.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah. Right now, currently the current space is about 790, 800 square feet. So almost double. Yeah.
Cool, man. So coming back to the present time and Residency Art in Inglewood, what show do you have right now, and what do you have coming up?
So right now we have a show that's actually closing this weekend. I'm pretty sure this podcast is coming out on Friday. So
this is coming out on Monday.
Oh, it's coming out Monday. All right. Well, the show will be closed by the time you hear this, but it's Reverberation. It is pretty much it's just about basketball and how basketball hits these like through lines within like culture, gender, politics, because growing up, that was the universal game, in any neighborhood was basketball. And I think now it's kind of a mix between basketball and soccer.
We used to play a lot more football back then. Well, when I was young.
Okay.
It was like blocks against blocks playing football.
Yeah. I think it changes from generation to generation. Yeah. And so, growing up in the 90s, man, basketball was huge, man. I mean, from, Showtime Laker days, like in Jordan, fucking when, Orlando Magic was killing it, Yeah. So, and then the whole Golden State Warrior, We Believe era, it's just, yeah, man. Yeah, not too many Golden State fans know about that, but I lived through it. And so, just how did all this, influence everything, the way we dressed, the way we spoke, the way we talked to our friends, Yeah. And so basically it's like, the show just kind of hits those major points, those major touch points. So we have 8 different artists right now, and then anyway, I'm spending a long time on the show, and you guys probably won't see it. But the next show, which is opening June 4th, is Felix Santana, who was a former guest on here.
Who's Felix?
Who's Felix? Yeah, Felix. Who's that guy? Shout out Felix.
Out
What's up, man? FFQ, man. What's good, man? Yeah, dude. And actually,
I'm so excited that you got this guy on.
Yeah.
Like, I'm excited to see.
Dude, I've been down with Felix since I first saw his work, man. He's such an awesome dude. Such a great soul.
Just like dope ass dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I know he does it with nothing but love, man. So yeah, man, that dude is great, man. And so we had him for a few shows in the past, and I just told him, man, I was like, man, as soon as you graduate, man, we're doing a solo. Like, no matter what, man, we're doing it, man. And so he was with it, and and it's finally coming to fruition. So
nice. I haven't been able to talk to him for like 2 months because he's been working.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's working on this show. Yeah,
he's been working hard, so I'm looking forward to that. So let's get a little bit more into like just the kickback, Rick. I know that Rick makes burgers.
You know what? I did make burgers.
Oh, you cut it?
I cut it, man. Yeah, dude. Just things with the galleries have just been going nuts, and so I just can't. And then also inflation as well. Things of cost of everything's been going up, so I can't justify a $20 smash burger. Yeah. But for all those that caught no ketchup no mustard while it was open, yeah, congrats. But there will be an iteration of it again some point.
Somebody's party again or something.
Yeah, like somewhere. For like homies only. But you'll get the invite, man. Just pull up to the house, man. Just come get a burger. Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to cover?
Yeah, man. Basically, like, I just really want to stress the point with artists getting to know the business. Yeah. And that's my whole thing is like trying to make sure the artist is taken care of first, because these galleries are going to jerk you around, and that's what I don't want. And I'm really an advocate for the artist and making sure all your paperwork is done, that you get your money on time, that you're not really like, stressing out. And, shout out to the 3 artists I represent, Devin Suno, Larry Lee, Texas Isaiah, for taking a chance on me, for allowing me to kind of like guide their like, their artistic career. And it's upward and onward, man. It's gonna be nothing but great things in the future, man. Like we're applying to a bunch of fairs, and I guess I can announce here, we haven't announced it yet on any social media or anything, but we're gonna be in Art Basel this year in Miami. Yeah. I'm very excited, man. So I'm not excited about I shouldn't say that. I'm not excited about Miami the city. Have you been to Miami?
No.
Miami sucks.
Really?
Yeah, it's terrible. I hate it, man. I'm not a Miami dude, but we're in Basel, so cool. Yeah, I'm excited.
It's definitely gonna be fun.
Yeah.
What do you, or is there anything that you can recommend for an artist to like research, or is there books that they can read about the business?
Honestly, I haven't really come across any books or anything. It's mainly like talking to people. Like don't be afraid to reach out.
Read your contracts.
Yeah, read your contracts, and don't be afraid to reach out to people who you trust, or people who you think are cool. Like you could, like any artist can come to me and ask me any question they want. My door is always open. And I'm always gonna tell you the straight up, honest truth.
Yeah. Some people might be afraid to reach out because they don't want to feel like dumb or whatever.
Don't. There's no. Yeah. There are dumb questions on this earth, but not when it comes to knowing your business. And again, I try to be an advocate for artists. I try to make sure that that you're taken care of first and foremost.
So if we could send a message out to any artists right now in a master's program, finishing up their year, if they wanted to reach out to you, what do you think they should put together, or how should they reach out to you? Or to any gallery for that matter.
Right. Well, it depends on what you're trying to reach out for. If you're trying to reach out for, business advice, you can just send me like a DM. You can email me. It's info@Residency Art. Or if you really, and that goes the same if you're putting together like a show or like a program. If you want to like pitch your work, just send it to info@Residency Art. And trust me, I see all those emails, I see all those DMs, and I save them. You know, they go in like I'm very good at like organizing and seeing where I can put people. Like, and I have shows mapped out in my like save folder on IG. It's like, okay, I can put people there, put people there. So if you don't get a response from me, don't feel too bad. Like you're noticed, you're seen.
What does a pitch look like, or what should a pitch look like?
I would say, you know, if you're in school, like send me your thesis show. You know, send me whatever you've written and send me a couple images. You know, and just talk to me about your background and your detail. Yeah, just start the conversation. Yeah, and again, like, you know, I do see every email, and I do respond where I can, but you know, don't be afraid to reach back out. You know, or honestly, you know, what really works for me is just come see me. You know, like I'm always in the gallery. You know, Thursday through Saturday. You know, 11 to 5. Sometimes 12 to 5, just depends on how the night was before. But you know, just come chop it up with me, man. You know, and I'm always, like I said, my door is always open. Yeah.
So info@Residency Art is your email. Your website is residencyart.com.
Yeah. For now, it's residencyart.com. But check back in July. Shout out to Monforte Studio. They're actually redoing my website right now. So don't go to my website right now. It's kind of janky. Let me tell you something, man. Don't ever get a website on WordPress, man. Because once you change the theme over, it's fucking trash.
Oh, it got all
weird. So I'm like, all right, let me reach out to China over at Monforte, and she's hooking me up. So come visit my website like after July.
And I mean, that's how people can reach out. Your Instagram is
Residency Art.
Residency Art.
Yeah.
Are you on Twitter?
No, not on Twitter.
Fuck Twitter.
Yeah, fuck Twitter, man.
I just don't know how to use Twitter. That's why I'm the old guy that just can't function on Twitter.
Yeah, I find like I'm just like shouting out in the dark. Yeah. You know what? Have you ever tried to delete your Twitter?
No.
You can't. There's no way to delete your Twitter.
It has to be.
No, it
pour acid on it.
Something, right?
Yeah. All right, Rick, we've come to the final question. And I know you've seen the show before.
Of course.
So I don't have to explain a lot, but if you had to put it in one sentence, this hustle, this grind, this businessman that you know put into all of your work, if you had to put it in one sentence, if somebody asked you, Rick, how do you do it?
You do it till the wheels fall off.
Do it till the wheels fall off. And that's it.
There you go. Thank you,
See
man.
you next week.